This episode is sponsored by Michelob Ultra. Whether you're due for a beer run, stocking up for the big Super Bowl party, or just looking for a case to bring to that BYOB party, head over to MichelobUltra.com/Ultra Club now. You can order ice-cold Michelob Ultra and have it delivered right to you. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Shop now at MichelobUltra.com/Ultra Club. Enjoy responsibly. LDA 21 and up.
Schadenfreude? Everybody must have screamed, "Ah! He's a song hero." Little pushy. Are you back from listening to Stairway to Heaven twice? Now, those are just words I looked up on the internet.
Unreasonable Doubt, a podcast about West Virginia University basketball, starts now.
Oh, wow. I mean, that was really something. Live. Well, it's not live, it's a podcast. From Austin, Texas, this is Unreasonable Doubt. It's a podcast about West Virginia University basketball, part of the Basketball Podcast Network. I'm Josh Witt. This is episode 25, Texas. And did I think West Virginia was going to lose this game? Yes, with love and respect. Not a great road team, as we all know. Won the Lubbock game, needed to win the Lubbock game. Not a must-win today. It still hurt really bad. Arguably their worst performance of the season. And listen, the computers love WVU. And WVU have put numbers into the computers for the computers to love them. And the numbers that they gave the computers today, they slapped the computers. They turn the computers turn their back on 34-point losses. The computer can't find the silver lining in that, and you know I'm sure Ken Pomeroy's computer feels betrayed. You know, it had an idea of WVU, and then West Virginia did that, 94-60. That was bad, and you know. West Virginia's never won in the Moody Center. You know, they've never played in the Moody Center. They did today, and it went really bad. And so it's one game. So what happened today does not erase the strong performance West Virginia's had in the 6 games prior to this one. It's just one game, so it only counts as one loss. So those are things you tell yourself when it goes bad like this, but that was bad, and I saw it in person. And credit to the Texas fans, everybody was friendly. Shout out to the Mountaineer fans that were in attendance. A handful of Let's Go Mountaineers were shared from the airport to the Moody Center. It went better than I expected as a visiting fan. It just was it's the worst I've ever seen them play in person by a mile. And I guess that possibility comes into play when you don't see them in Morgantown. But nothing, was not prepared for a 34-point loss. And the Mountaineers weren't prepared either, And credit to Texas. They made everything. Every three-pointer felt like it was going in. You know what I mean? Every free throw I thought went in, and they were close. 24 out of 25 from the free throw line. Hard to duplicate. They did it. 59% from three. Hard to beat any team when they're shooting almost 60% from the three-point line. Marcus Carr, Sir Jabari Rice, they went 12 for 17 from the field, and they went 6 of 8 from three. And those are really good numbers. And so credit to Texas, discredit to West Virginia's defense today. And on West Virginia's side, they started hot. Aggressive Emmett Matthews came out early. West Virginia scored a bunch in the first few minutes, and then it really changed quite a bit. You watched it? It's really bad. Trey Mitchell looked absolutely lost today. Listen, I made a big point on this podcast of confusion of why is Trey Mitchell wearing not only two different colored shoes, but two different kinds of shoes under the guise of safety. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to be injured by wearing two completely different shoes. And he obviously doesn't listen to this podcast. He made the decision today to wear shoes like other people wear shoes, like the same kind of shoes, the same color shoes. And if that is what went into his performance today, then he needs to go back to wearing two different shoes, two different colors. Because he only took 3 shots. He was throwing passes like he was seeing the colored jersey that was the same as his. And once that threshold was passed in his mind, it was good to throw the ball in that direction. And guys were not looking at Trey Mitchell when he was throwing them the ball. And thus, that led to turnovers. And it felt like 10 turnovers. The stat sheet says 5. Trey Mitchell was really bad today. Joey T, he kept dribbling. You know how Joey T likes to dribble. And most of the time that leads to good things. Today, he dribbled into somebody's foot or into his own foot, turnover. Keegan Johnson, lots of turnovers. It just, can you find, we did the Mr. Frown show a couple of episodes ago. Mr. Frown, and he's not joining us on the podcast today. He would have a field day. Like, if Mr. Frown had his own podcast, he would be giddy. Like, it would go like an hour and a half. The Mr. Frown breakdown of the Texas game. And it wasn't as sad as like other WVU blowouts we've experienced in the last 3 or 4 years, where it's just dunk, layup, dunk. Texas was shooting jump shots. They were all going in, it felt like. West Virginia, on the other hand, and credit to Texas's defense, all of the guards that play for WVU today, they went a combined 4 for 25. Yep. So they shot it, I told you, Carr and Rice, 12 of 17. Every guard that played for WVU, 4 for 25. One time, James Okonkwo was dunking the ball and trying to dunk it up through the basket, like Atari basketball, like trying to bring it up through the rim and back down. Now, in Atari basketball, that counted as a point. In real life, it just looks crazy, you know? It just looks terrible. And I don't, it was picture all like end of the first half. It's like, okay, we've got the ball 20. I'm not on the team. WVU's got the ball 20 some seconds left. Shot clock's off. Texas is at 49. And so as just trying to hang on to something positive, well, at least they're not going to go 50 burger on us in the first half. I smell it in the distance, but we're not going to eat one of those because we got the ball. Cut to turnover, breakaway, dunking over somebody, halftime. Texas has 51. And so not that it would have been a great scenario if West Virginia's down 49 to 30. That's still pretty bad. But, that like, hey, all right, keep it under 20. It's just the things you say as a fan to yourself to make it seem like, well, okay, well, they can claw back into this. At least they didn't break the 50 threshold, And then they come out in the second half and Texas starts slow and West Virginia gets like 3 or 4 trips to the line where they make 1 of 2. And then all of a sudden, Texas starts scoring, and instead of like a 17-point lead, it balloons to 26, and then it just got out of control. And so, I mean, there's nothing positive from this other than it was over, and that it was in Central Time. It was an 11 a.m. game, so. Now, West Virginia, what's great is that West Virginia, their next game is in Texas, so they didn't get to come back home, but they had the rest of their day ahead of them. They could just I mean, it was Eric Stevenson had 3 fouls at halftime. Somebody else had 3. Milwaukee had 3 fouls at halftime. Surprisingly, none of them fouled out. Just really, you know what? It was just really bad. from about 16 minutes into the game to the end of the game, it was just bad. It was just bad. So it's not good news when you take a 34-point whooping. Nobody's whooped them like that. The home loss to Kansas was the closest to this, but West Virginia kept it, I'll call it respectable in that game. But that game was over immediately, if you remember. And this game was over with about 10 minutes into the first half. Not great. Not great at all. And so the good news when you're in Austin and the game's over at 1-something, you've got the rest of your day. So my friends and I, we went to Terry Black's barbecue, and I wasn't thinking about basketball, and I don't know if the guys had some good barbecue after the game. I'm sure Huggins was probably not hungry after that game. I mean, what else was embarrassing during the game? I mean, Texas's version of Spencer Mackey got a 3 as the last shot for Texas. The Texas students were making homemade signs, and there's a great picture on the internet of somebody putting the sign behind a aggravated Bob Huggins in very messy script saying, "This is just sad." And it was. That was not disrespectful. That was accurate. And, ultimately, barbecue washed away the pain, but it wasn't a pain of the pain felt all the way through that Iowa State game to come out the other side with a victory. This was fairly painless, when you're down 21 at the half, it takes some of the suspense out of it, that's for sure. And it didn't really, the light at the end of the tunnel never came. It was the other light at the end of the tunnel, like the white light. Please end this game. So am I ever going to see WVU play outside of the Coliseum again? I guess I'm going to try it one more time maybe in my life. But the first go round, memorable. The barbecue was fantastic. That was great. The basketball, from a WVU perspective, really, 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 really bad. But it's just one game. It was really bad. It was just one game.
NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers can get a no-sweat same-game parlay every day. Just go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, opt in, and place the same-game parlay on any NBA game, and if it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back. So, the Pelicans beat the Lakers today, so they're on a one-game winning streak. I would fade the Pelicans, and whoever they played next, bet against the Pelicans, with love and respect to New Orleans. Download the app now and sign up with code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Random thoughts for this episode of Unreasonable Doubt. I'm in Austin, and let me tell you what Austin has going on, and I'm trying to still wrap my head around it. So, friends and I, we drive from the capital city, or around the capital city, to beautiful Northern Kentucky to fly out of the Cincinnati airport for a direct flight, a direct, relatively cheap flight to beautiful Austin, Texas. And so everything there was smooth sailing. And we arrive in Austin, Texas at the Austin airport. And you walk inside to the terminal from the airplane, and it's smaller than what you're thinking. You're like, man, this is Austin, Texas. You would think this has to be bigger than the Charleston, West Virginia airport. It's got to be bigger than Yeager. This terminal, in fact, was not. And so that was odd, but we know we're in Austin, Texas. And then the baggage claim's really close to where you walk in. Just real confusing. And the door to go outside, and then they're talking about shuttles. So it's a different terminal. And I've experienced different terminals. You can take those Star Wars looking buses at Dulles to different terminals. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's other examples, but that's the only one I can think of, because you feel like you're in a movie when you're riding in those things. And then you walk outside and you notice that you are in the South Terminal at Austin International Airport. Okay. And they have little buses that'll take you to the main terminal. But we've got our bags. We're ready to go. Somebody's there to pick my friends and I up. And, there's a gigantic line to get to the bus to get to the terminal. All right. So in normal airports, there is a main terminal that you can get to in a short amount of time, and then you leave, and there are options to get to the other terminals. All right. Like, I don't think you have to ride some kind of airport provided transportation to get there. There should be, in most cases, you are able to huff it and walk to your destination. So I typed in my phone, hey, I'd like to walk to the main terminal. And what Google Maps told me is that, hey, you can do that. It's going to take 2.5 hours to get to the main terminal. And that doesn't sound like that makes sense, But the South Terminal in Austin, Texas, lots of fence lines, There should be, you walk outside and you feel like there should be some barbed wire. You feel like it is a definite location that humans should not be able to get to. It's not inviting is what I'm saying. And Austin, the city, is fantastic. Talked about the great food, lots of nice things to look at. They have the most official cowboy boots you can buy, I think, are in Austin, Texas. Cowboy hats, live music, so many great things going on in Austin. The vibe you get when you get into the Austin International Airport is not one of like an inviting, exciting city to visit. It gives you the feeling that you have you have a contagious disease, and this is the airport, and you didn't know it, but this is the airport where you go to where you have to be separated from the rest of civilization. Hey, Austin Airport, South Terminal, you should put like people in hazmat suits and like the tent from ET outside to really give, if you're going to give that vibe, then go all the way with it. The phrase "keep Austin weird," get weirder with the South Terminal, make it feel like, have some more machine guns. I didn't see any machine guns, but when I walked outside, it had a machine gun vibe. Like, it should be heavily secured, because you don't want people outside. You don't want people to be there. And there were cars and stuff. It's like, how did the cars get there? Were they allowed to park there on their own accord, or what's happening at the South Terminal, the South Terminal at Austin Airport? I couldn't tell you. Other better observations of Austin. They don't have clouds in Austin. I don't know how they do that. I have read things where humans are trying to like create weather, and I don't know if that's happening in Austin, Texas. What I do know is that the sun shines from sunrise to sunset. I'm coming from Nitro, West Virginia, where there's been tons of cloud cover and very much exciting when the sun pops out through the mountains and then the clouds. Not a problem in Austin. Steady supply of sunshine. And so if that's your bag, bring sunscreen, but do know that the sun's going to be there for you. You know what I mean? The sun's going to take care of you.
Malls are cool. I don't have to tell you this. Malls are back. And around West Virginia, a great mall to go to is the Huntington Mall. Just on a daily basis, they got the cookie place. You can get the yummy cookie slice. They've got, for the kids, they got the train that goes through. Sometimes you can go to what used to be a store and there's a reptile expo. That's on the daily. But specifically, February 10th through the 12th, you need to go to the Huntington Mall. Why? Freeman Sports Cards and Collectibles is having a show in the Huntington Mall. They'll have everything set up. They'll have sports cards that you can check out and buy. They'll have collectibles. They'll have comic books. All the stuff will be there for you to purchase. You could also bring your stuff to the Huntington Mall. Hey, check this out. Would you like it? And you can work that out there. So definitely go to the Huntington Mall February 10th through 12th for the Freeman Sports Cards and Collectibles show. And if you can't make that, give them a call if you got comic books and sports cards that you want to sell, and they'll buy it from you. 304-416-3631. Freeman Sports Cards and Collectibles.
The next game for WVU, quick turnaround, games in Texas, Waco, Texas to be exact. Monday game, 9 p.m., ESPN2, West Virginia plays the Baylor Bears. As you remember, Baylor beat the Mountaineers in the Collie last month in a game that was really close, went down to the wire. Both teams hadn't won yet in the Big 12, so that was where both teams were at that point. Baylor got their first Big 12 win. Since then, Baylor's been really, really good. Like 9 out of 10 good, including a road win today at TCU. Their only loss was to this Texas team in the building that I just watched them play in. By the way, news broke yesterday. Texas and Oklahoma are going to leave a year early. So next year will be their last year in the Big 12 before they move on to the SEC. You know, congratulations, you guys. Congratulations, Oklahoma and Texas. Football-wise, you're gonna do great in the SEC. I really have a good feeling about your future there, football-wise. And then basketball, too. Basketball, you can really compete and do a great job. So just, I just wish the best for both schools in their future. There is a possibility after a 14-team league next season that the Big 12 could actually have 12 teams, which would be so bizarre, right? Because 12's in the name, But don't hold your breath on that, because the murmurs and the rumors and the reporting that's on the record, off the record, is that the Big 12 is looking at the Pac-12 still, looking for some teams to join so this conference can be from the Eastern time zone to the Pacific time zone. So they may not, the Big 12 may never have 12 teams in the iteration that WVU has been in. So anyways, Baylor, they're flying high. 9 out of 10, top half of the conference now. Jalen Bridges got his revenge game in the Collie, and so he'll be okay. Jalen Bridges, his team will be playing at home, and so from a WVU perspective, you gotta the mindset's got to be you can't play that bad 2 games in a row, right? You can't get blown out 2 games in a row, right? Not a must-win game, a nice-to-win game to beat one Jalen Bridges and to beat the Baylor Bears. But that, West Virginia, we were thinking, man, West Virginia's on a roll. They're not on a roll. Baylor's on a roll. They're at home, quick turnaround. And for the spot, WVU, in my head, cannot play worse than they did today. And nobody left due to injury. And Trey Mitchell did not play for Baylor. And maybe he gets back to the different shoe routine. And Eric Stevenson doesn't have 2 bad. Is he going to have 3 bad games in a row? He didn't get a technical foul or do anything crazy. So that guy's due to have a game. So I'm not. They're going to be an underdog. West Virginia is going to be an underdog at Baylor. I don't have 2 back-to-back blowouts. Anything else is on the table. I believe that. Anything else is on the table. We'll see what happens soon enough. That's it for this episode of Unreasonable Doubt. Listen on all the platforms or just pick one. Apple Podcast, also YouTube. Until next time, I'm Josh with WVU for the 2022-2023 season. They have 15 wins and they have 10 losses.